There are few places that reveal more about the British royal family than Sandringham. To most people, it's simply a country estate tucked away in the Norfolk countryside, a place where the royals spend Christmas, walk through quiet gardens, and disappear from the public eye for a few weeks each year. But behind its gates, Sandringham has always been something else entirely. It is where traditions are protected, family relationships are tested, and some of the monarchy's most important decisions unfold far away from palace balconies and television cameras. In recent months, Sandringham has found itself back at the center of royal conversation. Not because of a grand ceremony or an official announcement, but because renewed attention has turned toward the people who know the estate better than almost anyone else: King Charles, Queen Camilla, and Princess Anne. At first glance, they appear united by duty. Together, they represent decades of experience inside one of the world's most closely watched institutions. Yet they also bring very different personalities, priorities, and approaches to royal life. Those differences don't always make headlines, but they quietly shape how the monarchy functions behind closed doors. And perhaps no one embodies that quiet sense of duty more than Princess Anne. Often described as the hardest-working member of the royal family, she has spent her entire life putting responsibility ahead of publicity. Queen Camilla's journey has been very different. After years of public scrutiny, she gradually earned her place beside King Charles, becoming one of his closest advisors and most trusted companions. So when conversations about Sandringham begin to involve both women, royal watchers naturally pay attention. Not because every report reflects a confirmed dispute, but because the estate itself represents something much larger than bricks and stone. It represents family, tradition, and the delicate balance between preserving the past and adapting to the future. To understand why Sandringham continues to attract so much attention, and why Princess Anne and Queen Camilla are so often part of that conversation, we first need to understand what makes this remarkable estate unlike any other royal residence. To understand why Sandringham continues to occupy such a special place within the royal family, you first have to understand one important fact: it isn't like Buckingham Palace or Windsor Castle. Those royal residences are closely tied to the crown and serve as official homes for the reigning monarch. Sandringham is different. It is privately owned by the monarch, passed from one generation to the next as a personal family estate rather than a state property. That distinction has shaped its role within the monarchy for well over a century. The estate entered royal hands in 1862, when Queen Victoria purchased it for her eldest son, the future King Edward VII. Since then, every monarch has left a personal mark on the property. While governments have changed and public life has evolved, Sandringham has remained one of the few places where the royal family can step away from official duties and spend time together as a family. Stretching across thousands of acres in Norfolk, the estate is much more than the main house most people recognize from photographs. It includes farmland, woodland, gardens, lakes, and several residences that have been used by different members of the royal family over the years. Each corner of the estate carries its own history, making Sandringham feel less like a palace and more like a living record of generations who have called it home. For Queen Elizabeth II, Sandringham held a particularly special place. It was where she traditionally celebrated Christmas with her family each year, following customs that stretched back decades. Morning walks to St. Mary Magdalene Church, family gatherings, and quiet evenings away from official engagements became part of the rhythm of royal life. In fact, the Queen spent her final weeks at Sandringham before returning to Balmoral, where she passed away in September 2022. Today, King Charles has continued many of those traditions while gradually introducing his own approach to life on the estate. Like his mother before him, he sees Sandringham as more than a residence. It is a place where the pressures of public life give way, at least for a little while, to something that feels far more personal. That is why conversations about Sandringham often carry more significance than they first appear to. Decisions about how the estate is used are rarely just about buildings or land. They reflect family traditions, changing generations, and the evolving relationships within the House of Windsor itself. And few members of the royal family understand that history better than Princess Anne, whose connection to Sandringham stretches back to childhood and has remained remarkably consistent throughout her life. If Sandringham represents continuity for the monarchy, then Princess Anne represents much the same thing for the royal family itself. For more than 5 decades, Anne has quietly built a reputation that sets her apart from almost every other senior royal. While public attention has often focused on kings, queens, and future heirs, she has earned respect in a different way, through consistency. Year after year, she has carried out hundreds of official engagements with little interest in publicity, becoming widely recognized as one of the hardest-working members of the royal family. That approach reflects the values she inherited from her parents. As the only daughter of Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip, Anne grew up understanding that royal life was built on duty rather than recognition. Those closest to the family have often described her as practical, direct, and refreshingly straightforward. She has never been known for chasing headlines or seeking the spotlight. Instead, she has preferred to let her work speak for itself. Her connection to Sandringham began long before she became the experienced royal the public knows today. Like her brothers, Anne spent much of her childhood on the estate, where Christmas holidays, family gatherings, and country traditions became part of everyday life. Those experiences created memories that have remained with her throughout the decades, giving Sandringham a deeply personal significance beyond its royal status. As the years passed, that connection only grew stronger. Anne's own children, Peter Phillips and Zara Tyndall, also spent time at Sandringham, allowing another generation of the family to build memories in the same place. While the public usually sees the estate during Christmas broadcasts or official photographs, for Anne it has always been part of her family's private life, a place linked not just to royal history, but to birthdays, holidays, and moments shared away from cameras. That long relationship with Sandringham also helps explain Anne's perspective on tradition. Throughout her public life, she has consistently shown respect for institutions that have endured across generations. Whether supporting military organizations, equestrian events, or charities, her approach has remained remarkably steady. Change, in Anne's view, is often best introduced carefully rather than quickly. It is a philosophy that has earned admiration from many royal observers. Even those who don't always agree with her views often acknowledge her unwavering commitment to the role she has carried for most of her life. In an era when the monarchy has faced rapid change and intense public scrutiny, and has become something of a constant, a figure whose sense of responsibility has rarely wavered. But while Princess Anne's path has been defined by lifelong service, Queen Camilla's journey into the heart of the royal family has been very different. Her story is one of gradual acceptance, resilience, and a role that evolved over many years before she eventually became queen beside King Charles. While Princess Anne's role within the royal family has been defined by lifelong service, Queen Camilla's journey has followed a very different path. It is a story that spans decades, shaped by public scrutiny, changing perceptions, and a gradual evolution into one of the monarchy's most important supporting figures. Long before she became queen, Camilla lived a relatively private life away from the constant attention that comes with being a senior royal. Even after marrying King Charles in 2005, she often maintained a low profile, allowing time and consistency to reshape public opinion rather than trying to change it overnight. It was a slow process, but one that gradually transformed how many people viewed her role within the institution. One place that remained deeply personal throughout those years was Ray Mill House in Wiltshire. Purchased in the mid-1990s, it became Camilla's private retreat, a place where she could spend time with family and friends away from official duties. Unlike royal residences, Ray Mill represented a connection to the life she had built independently before becoming a full-time working member of the royal family. As Charles's responsibilities grew, particularly after he became king in 2022, Camilla's own role naturally expanded alongside his. She took on a fuller schedule of public engagements, continued her long-standing work supporting literacy, osteoporosis awareness, and domestic abuse charities, and became a familiar presence beside the king at state occasions both in Britain and overseas. While Charles focused on leading the institution, Camilla increasingly became one of its most dependable sources of support. Like King Charles, Camilla has also developed a deep appreciation for the countryside. Throughout their marriage, the couple have often preferred quieter royal residences over the formality of central London. Estates such as Highgrove in Gloucestershire, Balmoral in Scotland, and Sandringham in Norfolk offer a different pace of life, one where official business can continue while allowing moments of privacy that are increasingly rare for senior members of the royal family. That shared appreciation for country life helps explain why places like Sandringham remain so significant. They are not simply historic properties or symbols of royal tradition. They are homes where family relationships continue to develop away from public ceremonies and official appearances. Decisions about how those estates are used are often shaped as much by practical family life as by royal protocol. Viewed from that perspective, Princess Anne and Queen Camilla have more in common than many people realize. Both have dedicated years to supporting the monarchy, both value duty in their own way, and both understand the unique pressures that come with life inside the royal family. Their personalities may be different, but their commitment to the institution has become an important part of King Charles's reign. That naturally leads to another question. Behind the history and tradition, how are royal estates like Sandringham actually managed today? The answer is far more practical and far less mysterious than many people imagine. One of the biggest misconceptions about the royal family is that every palace, castle, and country estate belongs to the same organization. In reality, the system is far more complicated. Some royal residences belong to the crown estate and are used by the monarch as part of the institution. Others are privately owned by the king, making them family properties rather than state assets. Sandringham falls into that second category. Unlike Buckingham Palace, which serves as the monarch's official headquarters, Sandringham has always been treated as a private retreat. It has passed from monarch to monarch as personal property for generations, giving each sovereign the freedom to decide how the estate is maintained and used. That distinction makes Sandringham unique within the royal portfolio because decisions about the estate often involve both practical family considerations and long-standing traditions. The estate itself is much larger than most people realize. Beyond the main house are working farms, woodland, gardens, cottages, and several residences that have been occupied by different members of the royal family over the years. Some are used regularly, while others are reserved for visiting relatives, staff, or specific family occasions. Managing an estate of that size requires careful planning throughout the year. Many of the arrangements surrounding these residences have traditionally been handled quietly within the family. Unlike government departments or public institutions, there is rarely a public announcement explaining who will stay where during private holidays or family gatherings. Those decisions are usually made behind closed doors, based on schedules, availability, and the practical needs of the family at the time. That privacy has always been one of Sandringham's defining characteristics. It allows the royal family to spend time together away from official engagements and media attention. Christmas celebrations, informal dinners, country walks, and family traditions have all become part of the estate's identity over many decades. While the public may only see carefully selected photographs each December, much of what happens at Sandringham remains exactly where the family intends it to remain: private. As King Charles continues shaping his reign, Sandringham remains one of the places where tradition and modern life meet. The estate still reflects customs established by previous generations, but it also serves a family whose responsibilities, public expectations, and day-to-day lives continue to evolve. That is why conversations about Sandringham often become conversations about the royal family itself. The estate isn't simply a collection of historic buildings. It is a reflection of how the monarchy balances continuity with change, private family life with public responsibility, and individual personalities with the demands of one of the world's oldest institutions. And perhaps nowhere is that balance more visible than in the different approaches Princess Anne and Queen Camilla bring to royal life. Although both are deeply committed to supporting the monarchy, they have earned that reputation in very different ways. From a distance, Princess Anne and Queen Camilla appear to have arrived at the same destination. Both are senior members of the royal family. Both support King Charles in different ways. And both have spent years carrying out engagements on behalf of the crown. But the paths that brought them there, and the way they approach royal life, are noticeably different. Princess Anne has long been known for her direct, no-nonsense style. She rarely gives lengthy interviews, seldom seeks publicity, and has built her reputation through consistency rather than visibility. Year after year, she quietly completes one of the busiest schedules in the royal family, often without attracting the headlines that accompany other senior royals. Those who have worked with her frequently describe her as practical, disciplined, and focused on getting the job done rather than discussing it. Queen Camilla, by contrast, has taken on a role that depends as much on personal connection as public duty. Since becoming a working royal, she has devoted much of her time to causes such as literacy, supporting survivors of domestic abuse, and raising awareness of osteoporosis. Her public style is generally relaxed and approachable, often putting people at ease through conversation rather than ceremony. Over time, that quiet approach has helped reshape public perceptions of her role within the monarchy. These differences are not signs of rivalry. Instead, they reflect two very different personalities serving the same institution. Anne represents continuity. Her approach has remained remarkably consistent throughout decades of change, from the reign of Queen Elizabeth II to the early years of King Charles III. Camilla represents adaptation. She entered royal life later, gradually earning acceptance while adjusting to responsibilities that few people could have imagined taking on. King Charles benefits from both approaches. Princess Anne brings decades of institutional experience and an unwavering commitment to duty. Queen Camilla provides steady support as his closest partner, helping him navigate the demands of modern monarchy while maintaining a full schedule of charitable and public work herself. Perhaps that's why the public is so often interested in stories involving these two women. They are among the most experienced figures in the royal family, yet they represent different generations, different journeys, and different ways of serving the crown. Those contrasts naturally invite discussion, even when there is no confirmed disagreement behind the headlines. Ultimately, the strength of the modern monarchy has often depended on exactly this kind of balance. No two senior royals serve in exactly the same way, and they are not expected to. Different personalities, different strengths, and different life experiences all contribute to the institution in their own way. That balancing act is perhaps most visible in the person standing at the center of it all. As both king and head of the family, Charles must guide the monarchy while also managing relationships that extend far beyond public ceremonies, a responsibility that has become increasingly complex in recent years. At the center of all these relationships is King Charles III, a man whose role extends far beyond that of a monarch. Every public engagement may focus on the crown, but behind palace walls he is also a husband, a brother, a father, and the head of a family that has experienced both remarkable achievements and very public challenges. Unlike previous generations, Charles began his reign during a period of significant change. He inherited the throne after the death of Queen Elizabeth II, whose 70-year reign provided an extraordinary sense of continuity. Her presence often acted as the family's anchor, bringing together different personalities and generations under a single, widely respected figure. Charles inherited that responsibility at a very different moment. Alongside the everyday demands of leading the monarchy, he has also overseen a period marked by major transitions. The Prince and Princess of Wales have gradually taken on greater responsibilities as the future of the crown. Prince Harry's decision to step back from royal duties reshaped family dynamics in ways that continue to attract worldwide attention. Questions surrounding Prince Andrew's public role have also required careful handling, balancing personal relationships with the reputation of the institution. Throughout all of this, Charles has continued to rely on the people closest to him. Princess Anne remains one of his most dependable supporters, carrying out hundreds of engagements each year while offering decades of experience inside the institution. Queen Camilla has become his closest partner in public life, accompanying him on state visits, supporting his charitable interests, and helping shoulder the responsibilities that come with the monarchy. Each relationship serves a different purpose and offers the perspective of someone who has shared Charles's entire life, growing up beside him through every stage of the royal family's modern history. Camilla brings the perspective of a partner who has stood beside him through some of the most scrutinized years of his public life, helping him navigate both personal challenges and the demands of the crown. Balancing those relationships is no simple task. Every monarch must separate family matters from constitutional responsibilities while ensuring the institution remains stable in the eyes of the public. Decisions that might seem ordinary in most families can carry far greater significance when they involve the British royal family, where even private moments often become the subject of public discussion. Perhaps that is why King Charles has consistently emphasized continuity during the early years of his reign. His focus has remained on maintaining stability while gradually preparing the next generation for greater responsibility. In many ways, that transition is already underway, with Prince William and Catherine taking on increasingly prominent roles and their children slowly becoming familiar faces at major royal occasions. And that naturally leads to the next chapter of the story. As the monarchy looks beyond the present reign, attention is steadily shifting toward the generation that will one day inherit not only royal titles, but also the traditions, responsibilities, and historic places, like Sandringham, that have shaped the family for generations. As the British royal family looks toward the future, few places will remain as symbolically important as Sandringham. Generations of monarchs have celebrated milestones there, reflected on moments of national significance, and gathered away from the constant attention of the public. While the faces may change over time, the estate continues to represent something that has remained remarkably constant: the continuity of the monarchy itself. For King Charles, preserving that sense of continuity has become one of the defining themes of his reign. He has spoken often about respecting tradition while recognizing that every generation must adapt to a changing world. Sandringham reflects that philosophy perfectly. It remains rooted in history, yet it continues to evolve alongside the family that calls it home. The Prince and Princess of Wales are expected to play an increasingly prominent role in that future. As William prepares for the responsibilities that eventually await him as king, places like Sandringham will naturally become an even greater part of his family's life. Just as Charles inherited traditions from Queen Elizabeth II, William will one day inherit the responsibility of protecting them while shaping them for a new era. That transition is already beginning to unfold through the younger generation. Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis have gradually become familiar faces at events such as Christmas Day services at Sandringham, Trooping the Colour, and other important royal occasions. Although they are still growing up, each public appearance offers a small glimpse into how the next generation is being introduced to royal life. For Princess Anne, Watching that transition carries a special significance. She has witnessed the reigns of her mother and now her brother, giving her a unique perspective on how the monarchy evolves while remaining connected to its past. Her decades of experience serve as a reminder that stability is often built through quiet dedication rather than dramatic change. Queen Camilla also has an important role in this evolving picture. Over the years, she has become a steady presence beside King Charles, helping support both his public responsibilities and the personal side of royal family life. As the institution continues to modernize, her experience demonstrates how acceptance and trust can be built gradually through consistent service rather than instant approval. Ultimately, the future of Sandringham is about far more than the estate itself. It is about preserving a place where family traditions can continue across generations, a place where future kings, queens, princes, and princesses can experience the same countryside, the same Christmas gatherings, and many of the same customs that have connected the royal family for more than 160 years. That is why Sandringham continues to capture the public imagination. It is not simply a historic house hidden in rural Norfolk. It is a living chapter of Britain's royal story, linking the past, the present, and the future through one family whose lives remain watched by millions around the world. And perhaps that is the real story. Not speculation about private disagreements or sensational headlines, but the enduring role that history, tradition, and family continue to play in shaping the modern monarchy. As with so many stories involving the royal family, the truth is often quieter than the headlines suggest. Sandringham has witnessed generations of monarchs, changing traditions, and countless private family moments that the public will never see. It has remained a place where history is preserved, where responsibilities are passed from one generation to the next, and where the personal lives of the royal family continue alongside their public duties. Princess Anne and Queen Camilla may have taken very different paths to their positions within the monarchy, but both have become important pillars of King Charles's reign. Anne's decades of unwavering service and practical approach have earned her widespread respect, while Camilla's gradual rise from private citizen to queen reflects a journey marked by resilience, patience, and commitment to public service. Rather than viewing their different personalities as signs of division, they can also be seen as examples of how the modern monarchy relies on people with different strengths. One brings decades of institutional experience. The other offers steady support as the king's closest partner. Together, they contribute to the stability of an institution that has continually adapted while remaining rooted in tradition. As King Charles continues shaping the future of the crown, and as Prince William and his family prepare for the responsibilities that one day await them, places like Sandringham will remain at the heart of that story. More than a royal residence, it serves as a bridge between generations, a place where history is remembered, traditions are maintained, and the next chapter of the monarchy quietly begins. Of course, stories about the royal family will always generate speculation. Every photograph, every appearance, and every reported conversation is likely to spark new debates among royal watchers around the world. But separating confirmed history from rumor is essential if we want to understand how the monarchy really functions behind the scenes. In the end, the lasting legacy of Sandringham isn't about dramatic headlines or imagined rivalries. It's about continuity. It is a place that has survived changing monarchs, world events, and shifting public opinion while remaining one of the royal family's most cherished private homes. And perhaps that quiet endurance tells us more about the British monarchy than any sensational headline ever could. What do you think? Does Sandringham's greatest importance lie in its history and traditions, or do you believe its role within the royal family will continue to evolve under King Charles and, eventually, Prince William? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this documentary and would like to see more in-depth stories about the British royal family, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next documentary. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.